Good morning, class. I hope you're all doing good. In today's class, we are going to see a supplementary topic, Jim Corbett, a hunter turned naturalist. Jim Corbett, a hunter turned naturalist. So, from the title of the lesson, what is the thing that you can understand? A hunter turned naturalist. A hunter has been turned to a naturalist. So, before knowing who is a hunter, a hunter is basically a person who hunts down wild animals. Hunts down or he tracks, chases, and kills wild animals or any animals for that fact. So, why does a person hunt in the first place? There are a few list of things a person might get into hunting for. So, the first thing is for food. In tribal places and all, people still hunt animals for food. So hunting can be done for food. Food can be one of the reasons for hunting. Other thing is honor. In the ancient days and all, hunting down elephants and collecting the ivory was a honor game. So that way, hunting for honor or the tiger skin. So these things and all shows a man's bravery. So how strong he is. So hunting down all these wild dangerous animals, it's like a game for them basically. And also hunting can be done as a sport. There are hunting still now that is practiced as a sport. And then hunting can be done for pleasure too. Okay, so these are some of the reasons why they hunt. And a hunter is basically a person who chases animals and kills it. And hunting can also be done for protection. So like when wild animals get into a place where people are living, so basically the government sends people to hunt the animal down. They maximum try not to harm it, but if it goes out of control and they are given no choice, so they have to hunt it, or to an extent they have to kill the animal, so that the lives of people are saved. Okay, now who is a naturalist? Okay, naturalist is a person who is more into nature, or it can also be a student of history of nature, science of nature, a person who has completed his degree in nature studies, environmental studies, or nature studies, history of nature and all. So basically, naturalist is a person who finds pleasure through nature. It's more like a hobby. They have their hobby as wandering through nature. So those kind of people, they find it relaxing being one with the nature. So they are called naturalist. Okay, so now can you see there is a contrast? A hunter is a person who kills, and naturalist is a person who enjoys the living things around. So nature is basically both abiotic as well biotic factor. Biotic is living and abiotic is non-living. So naturalist is a person who enjoys living things, non-living things. He finds pleasure in it. But hunter is a person who risks his life in order to kill the animal, or at least to hurt the animal. So this is a total contrast. So the lesson's name is Jim Corbett, a hunter turned naturalist. So isn't this a very thrilling, a very interesting plot? A hunter, a very a person who's like who risks his life in order to hunt and kill or harm animal. Such a person has been turned to a naturalist. Okay, so we'll see. So you have to keep on holding the suspense. So now, Jim Corbett. Who is Jim Corbett? Okay, so that is the person we're gonna see in the supplementary lesson. Jim Corbett. Actually, his name was Edward James Corbett. He was popularly known as Jim Corbett. His name was Edward James Corbett, and he was popularly known as Jim Corbett. So Corbett was born of a British ancestry in town of Nainital. It's like in the Himalayas, the Uttarakhand. So he grew up in a large family of 16 children and was the 8th of the Christopher William Corbett. So his father was Christopher William Corbett. Among the 16 children, he was the 8th one. And his mother was Mary Jane. So he was born to Christopher William Corbett and Mary Jane. So he was the 8th child. He was born on July 25th. He was born on July 25th. Okay, you have to keep a note on the points that I'm giving so that you can answer all the 1-mark questions. So he was born for Christopher William Corbett and Mary Jane on July 25th. He was the 8th child among the 16 children. Okay. Mary Jane was a very influential person in social life among Europeans. She became a kind of real estate agent of the European settlers. So she was more like a real estate person, which also is something related to the nature. And Christopher William is a retired person from the position of a postmaster. He was a postmaster and his mother was a real estate agent. He learned to identify most animals and birds at a very small age. So he has had the interest of bird watching and all these things. He has been having the interest of being one with the nature from a very small age. So after Christopher Edward James Corbett, after he grew up, he became a British wildlife photographer. So basically wildlife photographer, so wildlife photographer is people who go into the deep forest and then they take pictures, all the candid pictures of animals. So it's also a risky job. So these are people who risk their life to take photos. So he is one among it. He has had the interest of nature from a very small age and he was a wildlife photographer. He just didn't stop it there. He was also a hunter, a tracker. So tracker is basically like, if you have a news that there is a tiger in the forest, so basically these people, they know very much about the tiger, the footprints, the marks, that the traits that it let go. So these people, the tracker, they keenly observe to all the details in the ground, the soil. They see all the footprints and that's how they track the animal. So they even see for their feces. So that gives them the information on when the animal was there, like it was recently or has the animal been here a long while ago. They even see for any of the animals that has been killed in the nearby area, so that it means that there is some predator that's been roaming around. So he is also a tracker. So this is basically the function of a tracker. He's a naturalist too. So though being a hunter, he is also a naturalist. So as said, he has had this a hobby kind of thing to the nature. He has always find pleasure through nature, and he was a writer too. So Edward James Corbett has been a multitasker. So he has been a wildlife photographer, a hunter, a tracker, a naturalist, and a writer. Okay. He has hunted a number of man-eating tigers and leopards in India. So there are so much of predators we know. What are some of the predators that you can think of? Lion, tiger, jaguar, even elephant at times, leopards. So these are some of the predators. Predators are basically something that kills another for its sustainability. For it to live, it kills another animal. So the work of Jim Corbett has been to hunt man-eating tigers and leopards. So man-eating tigers, which means these tigers have started to prey on human beings. So he has hunted a number of man-eating tigers and leopards in India. He had a lot of experience with tigers and other wild animals to shoot with in a cine film camera. So he has had a lot of experience. So this is a very obvious thing. Being a wildlife photographer, he must have obviously had a lot of experience with tigers and other wildlife animals. And he uses this cine film camera. So if you're a photographer or someone who's interested in photography, you can Google this. You can know about cine film camera. They are really, really very expensive. Even the lens cost you so much. It's really very expensive, and you you must have seen in any of the movies. Like even in the 96, Vijay Sethupathi, in the very beginning, he uses this big lensed camera, which is a cine film camera. So these cameras are used for precise shots. The frame they take with these cameras are more precise, and it gives a lot of details in it. So Jim Corbett has used cine film camera to shoot animals. I mean, the shoot means to capture animals, to click pictures of the animals. Corbett always preferred to hunt alone and on foot. So this kinda is a brave sentence here. So Corbett is a person who always likes to hunt alone. So he didn't like company. So he kinda enjoyed doing it alone and on foot, which means he didn't go in a jeep or any truck. He's been walking inside the forest and has been doing all this work. He often hunted with Robin. Robin is his dog's name. So even in this picture you can see. So he always hunts with Robin. Robin is his dog's name. Though he was an expert hunter, he admired wildlife. So this is the contrast. So though he was a hunter, he always admired wildlife. He always had something to give back to wildlife. Yeah. He did not like to kill wild animals for pleasure or sport. So he's a person who didn't do killing out of pleasure or sport. He had some duty, a position that was given to him, and that made him a hunter. He was more a naturalist only. So he didn't like killing wild animal for pleasure or sport. But he did not hesitate to kill man-eating tigers or leopards. So here again it's a open confession. He says he did not hesitate to kill man-eating tigers or leopards. So here from this line we can know that he valued human beings more. So he did not hesitate to kill those man-eating tigers or leopards. So there is this strange things about these animals. So basically when tigers, they consume on some human, when they prey on some human beings, when they taste the flesh of a human being, they kind of start liking, and they start repeating it very commonly. Human beings cannot put to the strength of a tiger. The tiger is a heavy pounded animal, and then it can also run really super fast. And you don't even have me say about leopards, they are super fast. So these animals, they kind of find us to be easy targets. Human beings cannot give it a match against these wild animals. So it's easy prey. So once they taste the human's flesh, they kind of get addicted to it. They kind of do it repeatedly. So this man-eating tiger, you just can't like warn it or tame it. Basically when they start doing it, they keep repeating it. So here this line says, but he did not hesitate to kill man-eating tigers or leopards. He hunted these animals only to keep people and only at the request keep people safe, and only at the request of the government. So as said, this is the line. He hunted these animals only as the government has requested, and also on a very higher function to keep these people safe. There are so many so many instances on a tiger killing human in and around the country and state. This thing is a very common issue, but nowadays it's been under control. There are a lot of injections where like to put a tiger into a sleep mode. There are like so advanced techniques that have been used, but those days and all, there were so many cases where like animals prey on human beings and kill a lot of human beings and kids too. So the government sends these trackers to track and hunt down these animals. So he has been doing this duty only to keep people safe and as requested by the government. And then here's a beautiful line he says. He took no joy from killing. So this does not give him any joy. And he says a very beautiful line. He says, killing is not against the law of nature, but against the law of human. So what does this mean? So law of nature. So there is this food chain. For one to survive, it has to depend on the other. So basically that's how our food web, the food chain has been working. So the grasshopper feeds on the grass, the frog eats a grasshopper, the snake eats the frog, and something bigger, a cat or like something eats the snake. So that's how the food chain has been going. So something to live, in order to live, it has to hunt down on the uh, the lower predator, or the predator, or the lower one, something that's weak, like the one man army. So when something has to sustain this world, you basically like you basically have to hunt down on the weaker one. So but this is how the law of nature has been working. For one to live, it has to feed on the other, the weaker one. But it is not the law of human beings. So we are not like that, right? We are not like the frog on the well. So we don't pull one's leg. So we basically try to work together and to raise together. That's how the laws of human being work. But unlike the law of nature, it is to prey on the other. So that is irresistible, that cannot be changed. So he says, not against the law of nature. This killing is not against the law of nature, but is against the law of human being. So this person called Jim Corbett, his name is Edward James Corbett. He has killed the tiger named Champworth tiger. It is a kind of breed. So that was his first kill in the Chatar Bridge. There was this bridge called Chatar Bridge, where he killed this tiger called the Champworth tiger. Okay, so this is all about Jim Corbett. Let me give you a small glance. So Jim Corbett has been his popular name. So his name is basically Edward James Corbett. He was born to Christopher William Corbett and mother Mary Jane. So Mary Jane is a real estate person, and Christopher William Corbett was a postmaster. So this is something about his background. So they had a total of 16 children. Jim Corbett was the 8th child of Christopher William Corbett and Mary Jane. So he has had this interest of nature, like being one among the nature from a very small age. So he also was like very familiar with the names of animals and birds, so at a very small age itself. So from this you can understand that he has been close with the forest and wildlife from a very small age. Yeah. So this person, the Jim Corbett, has killed a number of animals, mostly the tigers and the leopards, the man-killing tigers and the leopards. So his first kill was the Champworth tiger at the Chatar Bridge. Okay, so he was born on July 25th. Okay, so now let's get into the assignment. Okay, so this is a fill in the blank. Jim Corbett was born on, so as I said, it is 25th July 1875. He was born on 1875. Jim Corbett shot wildlife animals in his cine film camera. As I said, it's a very expensive, it gives a very precise shot, and it keeps the frame very accurate and perfect. So basically all the wildlife photographers use this for their photography. So it's a cine film camera. Dash was the first man-eater shot by Corbett. So it's the Champworth tiger. So the first tiger that he shot was the Champworth tiger. So man-eater. So as I said, these animals, once they start preying on the human beings, they kind of take it as an addiction. So they, after tasting the flesh of the human beings, they kind of do it repeatedly, as they find us to be a weaker target. As we cannot run or bear the strength of a tiger, we are obviously a weaker target for these animals, so they prey on us. So these tigers are called the man-eating tigers, and the first man-eater shot by Corbett was the Champworth tiger. So Corbett shot the tiger dead near the Chatar Bridge. So there's this place called the Chatar. So Chatar Bridge was the place where he first hunted down the Champworth tiger. So your ma'am is expecting you to copy these questions and answers in your classwork, and there is also this passage writing. So basically you have to read the passage, and I have asked few questions and there are also answers. So first you can try closing the answers and figuring it out on your own. You can see how they have framed the sentences, how the sentences are framed according to the question. So you can try it first on yourself and then look into the answers, and then you have to learn this and write it in your classwork. So this is the passage, and these are the questions. I've asked 3 questions and they are given with the answers. So first you can close the answers and try it out once, and then you can copy this in your classwork. So I hope you understood the topic for the day, and we'll be continuing the lesson on about Jim Corbett, how he encountered the tiger, what and all problems they faced, and how they shot the tiger dead, and how was the behavior of the tiger, the characterization and all. We'll see in the next class, in the next lecture. So I hope you all understood. Feel free to ask any of your doubts in the Google Classroom. I'll see you in the next class. Thank you so much.